Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today I am here to give you my top 10 movies of 2021. Now I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible. I know a lot of people do these, we have a lot of honourable mentions. I'm going to try and keep it down just to the 10 movies so that we don't keep you too long. It's Christmas Eve. I know I have a few days left of 2021, but I don't foresee anything taking a place in my top 10. I held out to watch Matrix Resurrections. The least said about that, the better. That's certainly not going to make my top 10 of the year. So let's get kicked off with number 10. So at number 10 is probably the only movie on my list that you may not have heard of. It's called Paper Lives and is set in Istanbul. So obviously we have subtitles to follow here, which I know isn't everyone's preference, but this is a beautiful little movie that a lot of people just don't know about. It follows a gentleman called Mehmet who has grown up disadvantaged, who hasn't had his parents to help him, who has found his own way on the streets, and he as an adult has set up a business of sorts in that they collect and recycle paper and cardboard and they get a little bit of money for it. They live in a big abandoned warehouse and he takes all these kids under his wing. He forms a relationship with one particular child that comes to him that reminds him a lot of himself when he was growing up. And the movie really follows the relationship between them, the trust, the bond forming between them, and I just felt it was a really beautiful little movie that no one ever talks about and is hideously overlooked, so that is my number 10. At number 9 is a movie that I won't need to go into a lot of detail about, we all know it. It's Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, who I think was a genius piece of casting for this movie. A lot of people were questioning of him being an action hero, but for me, he was perfect in this role. It reminded me of an action-filled falling down type character. We've all got to that point when we're at a certain age where we just feel we've had enough, and his character has just had enough in this sense. Some fantastic action scenes. It's an intelligent action movie, which for me is a big thumbs up. I'm not a massive fan of the genre per se. Some I do enjoy, but this one was witty, it was funny, it was intelligent. So yeah, Nobody is my number 9. My number 8 goes to a movie called 9 Days. This is one that hasn't come to a lot of people's attention at the moment, unfortunately. It's one that I heard Sean from Lost in the Rail speak about on his channel. He did a fantastic video where he actually interviewed a lot of the cast from the movie. This follows a gentleman who is interviewing souls, and the winner of the interview process gets the chance at life on Earth. They get to be a human form. So all of these people, to us as we're watching, are people, but they don't have a physical form on Earth. That's what they strive to achieve. This movie is about appreciating small things in life. It's about what makes you unique. And you just walk away with a feeling of appreciation, of being alive, of small things. There is a specific point. The only thing I will say, I would have liked this movie to end at a slightly different point than it did, but I still love the movie. It's my number 8. I do apologise if this moves in the course of me doing this video. My ring light is just, it's awful. Right, my number 7 goes to A Quiet Place 2. I love A Quiet Place. I actually probably prefer A Quiet Place to A Quiet Place Part 2, but it was still a fabulous movie. This movie, while it didn't have a lot of the action of some of the first movie, I loved the opening part of this movie, the first half hour, where it sets up how things went wrong from normality to everything hitting the fan. I'm trying not to swear. I would have loved to have seen an entire movie with that, just like an extended version of going from normality to chaos. But I love this movie. I thought the direction was spot on, cinematography was beautiful, acting performances were all spot on. It just was a really, really good, solid movie, so that is my number 7. My number 6 goes to one that has divided some people. I have heard reports of people saying it's nothing more than fan service, lip service. Is the new Ghostbusters movie. As a fan of the original movie, as someone that is old enough to remember it when it came out, what is wrong with giving the fans what they want? What is wrong with causing all that nostalgia? And you can't go and watch that without feeling an immense amount of nostalgia. I didn't see any spoilers, so it was all a big surprise to me. Again, a movie where they showed a little bit too much of something, and I would have liked it to have ended ever so slightly differently, but that did not take away from the fact that I did love the movie. I thought it was very brave to cast Paul Rudd and to not use him all that much. There would have been the tendency for him to sort of detract from the rest of the storyline, but he didn't at all in this case. And as with A Quiet Place 2, we have the young star just overtaking the performance in this and carrying the entire movie. And it's just a feel-good, don't have to think too much about movie for the whole family to enjoy. So yeah, Ghostbusters comes in at my number 6. At number 5 is the only animation on my list, and there actually were 2 until another movie squeezed one out. The one that didn't quite make it was Luca, which I absolutely loved. But the one that did make it into number 5 is Encanto. I went to see this at the cinema quite recently and I absolutely adored everything about it. The songs, the storyline, the bright colours, just everything. The animation was absolutely perfect. Until that point, Coco just was above and beyond any other animation that I'd sort of seen since Toy Story. But this sits right up there with Coco for me. I think it maybe is more aimed at girls. It will appeal more to girls potentially. We've got an awful lot of flowers and bright colours and pretty dresses in this one. But Encanto has just got a lot of soul, a lot of heart about it. I just loved the whole backstory of the main character in here. I'm not going to give you any plot because I know a lot of people haven't seen it. But it is a really special movie and it's the only animation that makes the list at my number 5. At number 4 is Tom Hanks's new movie Finch. Now when you hear that Tom Hanks is pretty much single-handedly acting in a movie on his own, that could put a lot of people off, but for me, following his performance in Castaway, I knew that this was going to be a goodie before I even put it on. In this, he acts alongside a dog and a robot. We are in a post-apocalyptic future and Tom Hanks must teach a robot how to care for his best friend, his dog, when he is no longer alive. And this movie follows the building of the robot, the teaching the robot everything he needs to know, and just the journey along the way, the friendship journey of himself, the robot, and the dog. It's a beautiful movie. It's heartfelt without trying to pluck at the heartstrings too much. I think in some movies when you get that swelling music and when you know you're meant to cry at this bit, it doesn't do that, and I love that about it. Tom Hanks is wonderful in pretty much everything he does. I've never seen a poor performance from him. I've seen a couple of movies that I wasn't keen on, but his performance was nothing to do with that. Tom Hanks never turns in a bad performance, and this is just a really heartfelt. You'll find this with most movies on my list. It will be ones that touched me in some way, ones that really sort of resonated with me in a way or made me feel a particular way, and Finch definitely ticks that box, and it comes in at number 4. Okay, so my number 3 is perhaps a little bit contentious as this is not a 2021 movie, but I am putting it in my list because it only became available for us to watch this year. This movie I think was released in 2019, potentially 2018 even, is the movie Profile. This covers a journalist who attempts to infiltrate ISIS. This is all set very much in a similar way to the movie Searching. It's all set with webcam and video on the computer screen. And this journalist sets out to pose as a much younger Muslim girl, and she is going to try to get one of the recruiters to try to recruit her to join ISIS. This movie genuinely unsettled me. The acting was fantastic. I thought the entire story was very believable. It's something that's happening all the time. There is a piece of video footage in this that honestly gave me complete chills. There's nothing horrendous, horrible. We don't see any gross, I'm not meaning like horrible videos or anything like that. But if you've seen it, you will know exactly what I mean. It just is genuinely terrifying because it's a real world issue and problem and a real world threat. This movie is one that I didn't even do a individual review for because I was, to be honest, quite frightened about talking about it. But this is an amazing movie. If you get a chance to check out Profile, it's unlike anything I've seen before on this subject matter, and I would thoroughly recommend you check it out. It's my number 3. Okay, so number 2 is one that just squeezed into the list very, very recently, and that is Will Smith in King Richard. I've heard his performance in this compared to in sentimentality or to emotional clout to his performance in The Pursuit of Happiness. which is a movie that I absolutely adore. There's a scene in that movie in a subway bathroom floor which is just heartbreaking. If you've seen the movie, you will know the one I mean. And when I heard someone mention that his performance was on par with that, I had to see this movie. Now, this is about Venus and Serena Williams' father, Richard, and about basically him bringing up his daughters to believe that they could do whatever they wanted. They came from very humble beginnings. He taught them that they should never be disrespected for their colour or for the fact that they're female. Anything they wanted to achieve in life they could with hard work and persistence. He instilled really strong morals into them. Now, a lot of people will say he wasn't a very likeable character. He was very pushy. He wanted for his kids what he would have liked for himself. He lived vicariously through them. I didn't feel that at all. No person is completely infallible. He perhaps was a bit pushy in places, but look where it got the girls. And the girls have a lot of love and respect for their father today. They don't have a bad relationship with. We're not talking like the Jacksons' father here. We're not talking that type of person. He just was very persistent, very pushy. He opened doors that would not have been opened in any other way other than his pure and utter cheek to do the things that he did. But I absolutely loved it. I loved his character. I loved his relationship with his girls. I, more than anything, loved the morals that he instilled in his family. And sort of no matter where they got in life or what they achieved, to always have those morals. And that, to me, again, one of the ones that emotionally resonated with me. So King Richard squeezed in at my number 2. Okay, number 1. We've reached number 1 finally. This movie has been my number 1 from quite early on in the year, and I am surprised myself to say this. It's a musical. It's In the Heights. It's a movie I had no intention of going to watch. I'm not a massive musicals fan. Some I do enjoy. I don't go to the theatre or anything like that. But it was 2 individuals. It was Jonathan from Man of Movies and Sean from Lost in the Rail said to me, you really must see this movie. It's not just singing and dancing. There's a lot more to it. And boy, is there a lot more to it. This is a movie following a bodega owner that lives in the Heights, and he's considering selling up and moving away. This follows his story and the people around his life in the area. The culture in this is absolutely beautiful, colourful, the language is gorgeous, the songs are all catchy, the performances are all outstanding. It's very emotional. It made me laugh, it made me cry a lot. It's a very, very emotional movie. It's one of those movies where you really want something else to happen so that you can get over the fact you've been crying your eyes out before you have to leave the theatre. I think I was in this movie with one couple, me and them, and that was it, because it was hardly the most cultured place that I lived, so there are not a lot of people wanting to see this kind of movie, but I am so glad that it was recommended to me to go see it. It's not something I would have sought out otherwise, and it's one that I will recommend to anyone that will listen to me because it is fantastic. So In the Heights has been my number 1 since I saw it early 2021. So that's my list, folks. Let me know in the comments what movies you love this year. Hopefully some of you will be doing your own lists so I can watch those also. Let me know what you thought of my choices or if there's anything that you would change in there. And I look forward to speaking to you all and doing some more reviews and weekly roundups in 2022. Thanks for watching, and over and out from Lisa Loves.